Hi, I'm Jake Hallstrom, and I'm here, and I'm going to be doing a vlog about the recent short story that we read called "The Storm" by Kate Chopin. Chopin, maybe. I'm very bad with names, so I'll get that out of the way at the start. So why am I doing this? Well, I thought it was an interesting subject because basically, for the time period it was written in, this is like completely voodoo, don't talk about this, we never will mention this, zip it, lock it, throw it away kind of thing, where you just didn't talk about this. And I did, after doing some more research after reading it, I found out that it came out years and years and years and years and years, decades after the author had actually wrote it in the first place, because she knew 100% that it was completely scandalous and people would be like, gasp, kind of thing. So I just thought that was all kind of interesting. And what's also interesting about that, and it's that way because it's about secret sex and secret relationships and cheating on a husband or wife when you shouldn't be, and not happy in your marriage when you're only supposed to marry once and it's supposed to be this way. There's no such thing as divorce, and none of that exists yet. And I thought that was interesting because you could almost take this idea or this story and put it into today's world, and it seemed like it had just been written yesterday. I mean, the language is obviously a little different, but the idea behind it of this secret relationship and how it comes to be is so 21st century. It's like unheard of that she came up with this back then. So rather than just talk about the story and what happened, I thought it'd be cool to talk about the title and how it's kind of a symbolism for Calixta and Alcée. Again, I'm bad with names. We'll call him A, we'll call her C. AC, air conditioning, easy to remember. There we go. So, what happens in the story? The title of the story is called The Storm. The story is mostly about the storm. The storm is kind of the focal point of what everything falls around and how things end up taking place in the story. The storm starts out, it's like a giant monsoon. It sends Calixta, C's husband and son, they're out working, and it keeps them out there. It doesn't send them out there, it keeps them out there working where they can't come home. And Alcée, who will now be referred to as A here on out, he's walking by, just happens to walk by C's house, and they have a little bit of a history, which is kind of funny that he happens to be walking by at this time. Obviously, they still have a little bit of something there for each other, because he wouldn't be walking by her house if they didn't. That's another interesting thought. But anyway, so he's like, the storm is crazy. Can I just stop here, take refuge until it's over? Won't do anything, just rest, and then once it passes, I'll go. And she's like, fine, sure, whatever. And what's the worst that can happen? And I think they said the storm was so bad that, they start to have to like put stuff under the door to keep the water from coming in, stuff like that, just, to protect themselves. And so once he goes in there, the rain starts coming down harder. So you can sense that this rain kind of represents their relationship, where you go, oh, now they're like in the same room together, so the rain's going to start beating down a little harder, and it's getting a little crazier because the tension's increasing between the two of them. And then she starts getting a little frantic about, oh, what's my husband going to do? I'm so worried about him. What are they going to do? Oh, they can't get home, blah, blah, blah. They're going to be in trouble. And then she kind of like falls into his arms, and he's like, oh, and then the rain just goes boom and crashes down. And you can just start see like he's like his heart just starts to beat like crazy, because he's like, oh, this is how it's gonna happen. It's going down tonight. So so they that kind of starts heating up. She kind of pulls herself back from him, and he's like, whoa, no, it'll be fine. Just we're here together. You have company. I'll keep you company. We'll pass this storm. Don't worry about it. And then he grabs her and grabs her face, and he's like, it'll be fine, like, wipes the tear from her eye kind of thing, pushes her hair back, and all the classic, love things that happen. And then she just like completely falls head over heels from him. They get down to business, we'll say, and then the storm passes. The relationship, or the tension that was there, kind of falls down, and then that's that after the storm passes. So you could say the rain kind of represents what their relationship feels like in the moment. Rain's kind of coming down, he's walking by, they feel for each other, they get in the same house, it comes down faster, they touch each other, and it's like coming through the roof almost. And then once they're all done with each other, so to speak, they separate and the rain stops. So I just thought that was all interesting. I think it's very interesting, just the idea of like secret relationships in this time period is like so completely unheard of, which is why it wasn't released till, I think they said the 70s was around when it was written. So it's only about 40 years ago that we were even able to talk about this kind of stuff in writing. And you can tell that both of them are little it's not that they're unhappy in their marriages, it's just that they wish that their other relationship would have gone in a better way, because so that it would have lasted. Because you can tell that, you can especially tell with the guy, because he writes his wife and is like, you can just stay where you're at, you don't need to come home yet. In that last kind of couple paragraphs where he writing the letter to her. So again, I just think it was very interesting that you were talking about this kind of subject in the time period that she was in, and how it's so easily transferable to today's standards and today's, what people think of as today, a relationship kind of thing today. Cheating on your husband and wife. Still not a good thing, but it happens more frequently, and it's not completely unheard of today. It's just so, I feel like there's millions of romance novels that are written about, and this kind of like written about this subject all the time. I work in a library. I would know. I see them come through all the time. I don't read them, but I see them circulate all the time. But that's going to be it, though. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this brings upon good discussion. I'm probably the first one to do one of these vlogs. It probably went a little longer than it should have, but that's okay. Call it the guinea pig run. Hopefully you guys will start doing some soon, and I have 2 more to do this semester, so you'll see me then. Until that point, that's all I got. See ya.